Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I am going to talk about how to figure out what you really want when you're dating and how to not get caught up in the idea that there is some perfect human that has to check all of these different boxes, but rather to just try to find somebody that you love. And before I get into this important topic for anybody who is dating again or dating the first time, let me first ask you to please subscribe to my podcast. Click on the subscribe link. And you will get access to all of my different podcasts that are not accessible to the everyday non-paying listener. Okay, so obviously I work with a lot of people who are dating, and sometimes I see this idea that, you need to find somebody who checks all these different boxes, and that is how you are going to meet your soulmate in this sort of algorithmic way. And it shouldn't come as a surprise that this doesn't work, because if you just think about basic math, I mean, I'm not real good at math, but even I know if you multiply a fraction by a fraction, you get like a smaller fraction. So like if you're looking for for the 10 out of 20 people that like CrossFit, and then the 3 out of 40 people that are Democrats, and then the whatever out of, by the time you like go on your dating app and you're looking for all these different ratios of all these different people, you're going to get to like a number that might as well be imaginary, which I don't think means a very small fraction, but it might as well for our purposes. So the point here is I have seen so many people that start dating and fall in love, and I did that also after my first marriage, and nobody that is really in love is like, and you know what the best part is they check off every box out of these 150 boxes or even 12 boxes or whatever that I had. That is never why people fall in love with other people, just like it's not why you love your children, or your best friend or anybody else. So, but then, of course, there's going to be the naysayers and the devil's advocates that say, but what about things that are extremely important to you, and didn't you write about these major areas of compatibility in your blog? And, of course, there are certain large dimensions of human compatibility that I am not talking about. So, for example, if a man makes $150,000 a year or $200,000 a year or $100,000 a year, like, does this really matter? No, it doesn't. If a man doesn't have a job, does that matter? Yeah, that matters. You're not going to have a lot in common if you have a job and he doesn't have a job. You're also not going to be able to go out to eat and split the bill. So that would matter. But really similar work ethic in that situation would matter. If you want a man with kids, and I really do highly recommend having a man with kids if you have had kids, because a lot of times men who've never had kids, they just literally do not even understand what you're talking about, and it's like you're talking a different language. And the best are the ones who said, but I have a dog. No, I get that. I'm sure you love your dog, but that is not similar. Anyhow, yeah, okay, so let's say having kids. Does it matter if he has 3 kids, if he has 12 kids, if he has 1 kid, if it is a child that is an adult, if it's a child that is 5? No, it really doesn't. How about things like his job title or his education level? All that you really need to be worried about, by the way, in terms of intelligence, is how that is operationalized. Does this man know how to do things in the world, or does he not? Do you think he's smart? If you talk to him and somebody told you that he was a PhD, would that seem crazy to you? Or would you say, oh, I could see that? You need somebody who you think is smart. That's it. And by the way, plenty of PhDs are not that smart. Myself excluded. I'm very smart. But here's the thing. You need to think deeply about what is going to make you happy on your deepest level forever. So usually what this means is nice. Somebody who's nice to you, that will make you happy forever. And somebody who you respect. Now, a lot of respecting somebody, quite honestly, is you. Like, you have to be somebody who is person that respects other people. If you are a negative, cynical person that could see the stupidity in what anybody said, then you are not probably ready to date. And you should do some introspection on your own about why you can be so negative and critical about everybody. Because it's not just going to be the people that you date. You're probably critical about everybody. You were probably raised in a critical home. But so let's say that you are an open-minded, non-judgmental person, which is saying a lot. A lot of people have to work on those things. But let's say that you've achieved that and you are an open-minded, non-judgmental person and you respect others. Just as a default, you believe that humans should be respected. Okay. So there are certain things that you are going to respect more than others. So you may respect somebody who could come off like a PhD. You may respect somebody who's really good working with their hands. You may respect somebody that's made a lot of money. You may respect somebody because they're a good dad. You may respect somebody because they work out at CrossFit 50 times a week and they are super hot. I mean, whatever you respect is cool, but you need to respect your person. They have to be nice to you, and you have to have physical chemistry. If you don't have physical chemistry, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. No marital counselor down the line can help you. You are fucked because you're trying to go against nature. Nature makes people physically attractive to one another for a reason. People like each other's pheromones for a reason. If you do not instinctively on any level want to breed with somebody, the nature is telling you that you're not attracted to them and this relationship will not work out. Can you be friends with that person? Sure. Do most people need more friends that they met off of Tinder? No. So just don't talk to this person anymore if you're not attracted to them. Get through the date nicely and then say, no thanks, I don't think it was a fit. But anyhow, these are the major 3 things that you need. And now in terms of all of my other posts about compatibility, they really boil down to these things. If the person is nice to you and if you respect them. So do you respect their beliefs across an array of areas? Sure. Can you respect their beliefs even if you don't agree with them? Sure. This is why people with different politics used to be able to get married. I think they can still get married, but this is now a counterculture opinion. So for the people that are really into politics and could never imagine marrying somebody from the opposing party, then I guess that's one of your things. But don't sacrifice on them being nice and kind and that you respect them. Don't just marry like any Democrat, it would have to be also these things that I'm saying because those are the most important things. When people stay together, despite not liking somebody, not respecting them, and not being attracted to them, those are the people I see. And the prognosis is not good. Those are the 3 key variables. And honestly, if you think about it, those are the ones that you would most want your child to be in a relationship with somebody where they're nice to him, where they each respect each other, and where, there is some spark and some romantic feel. So what about if you are the sort of person that does have a 10-point list and you find it very anxiety provoking to get rid of the list? Well, I'll tell you, I was a little girl, had like a 20-point list at like age 6. I was precocious in my anxiety. I was raised in a neurotic Jewish home. And I had like this list and it was like all my worries. And one of my worries is, what if I fall in love with someone who isn't Jewish? This was a big worry for me. I was 6. I had many other worries as well. They were equivalently stupid. But to me, it wasn't stupid because this was something that I was told all the time, is that you have to do this. So guess what? The adult version is not that different from my version. It was something that I was told, so I thought that it had to happen, and I never really thought about why or what it could be like. So if you're a woman that thinks that you need to be with a man who makes $500,000 a year and drives a Porsche, why? Why? Is that something that the media is telling you? Is that something that you grew up thinking? Was that what your father was like or what he wanted to be like? You have to deeply interrogate any things on your list and really understand where they're coming from. And if you could be deeply happy with somebody who did not have these specific crazy variables. A big one that I hear with women is height. So like if height is super important to you, then okay, but what if the guy was, and I always say this in therapy, they're like, oh, I want like 5'10" or up or something like that. And I'm like, so if the perfect guy came and he's 5'9", so he doesn't get through your filter, then what? How are you going to feel then? I mean, well, it doesn't make any sense. And what if he was even more perfect, but he's 5'8"? I mean, it's as silly as saying I'll only date a woman who weighs 110 pounds, So then what about a woman who weighs 111 pounds? These sorts of really sharp cutoffs never really work, because they are usually springing from anxiety, and it's anxiety about how other people will perceive you, and it's anxiety about how you've been trained to think a certain way, and then you're anxious about casting off this way, just as people are anxious about any sort of change. So if you are a person that's dating on apps, why don't you, practically speaking, take something from this podcast episode and change one of your filters? I mean, another one is age. A woman dates, let's say, 35 to 45. So what about 46? Why? Why not? What about 47? And so when people really deeply think about it, they're like, well, shit, I don't know. And then they usually say something like, well, you gotta have some cutoff, which is like so silly, like as though like if they like avert their eyes, they're gonna end up with an 80-year-old man, because somehow he's gonna get through the filter because I just made them be so flexible that it's dangerous, because now they're going to be sitting across from like their grandfather. No, that doesn't happen. Obviously, case by case, you can decide who you date, but I say the more people who get through your filter, the better. The more people you get to meet, the more you learn about yourself, the more experiences you have that can help you grow. Maybe you'll date the 47-year-old guy who's 5'8" and doesn't make six figures, and he'll be amazing. Maybe it won't be the guy you marry, but it'll be the guy that makes you rethink everything that you thought about your filters. Or maybe it will be the guy you marry. Or maybe a guy will just be really good in bed. Who the hell knows? Every experience is good. So what I am challenging you to do is to loosen up the constrictions in your mind around this and other things that you may be rigid about in the dating marketplace. Now, again, I want you not to be rigid, but there are certain things that should be immutable. And so to cover, again, if somebody is not nice to you, this is not changeable. If you do not respect them at the beginning, you are never going to start. And if you are not attracted to them, this is not going to grow. Okay? Like if you may not be a woman who thinks about tearing a man's clothes off at the first date, no matter what. Fine. But you should not think that they are ugly, or that they are weird looking, or that they are kind of disgusting in some way or another. This will never get better. It will only get worse no matter what their personality is like. You could really like them and respect them, and you still will never want to have that much sex with them or sex with them at all. So you should get out of this right away if this is the issue. And so many people might say, so if I loosen up these requirements, then it seems like I'm going to be going on a lot of dates and I really don't have the time or whatever, the money, if you're a guy, to go on so many dates. No, that is really not how things work. And again, that's a very anxiety-driven perspective. Only anxious people really see that being more flexible is bad. Like they can find like a million reasons for why being more flexible and more open-minded will actually lead to will be ruinous, And this is not the case. What will really happen is you're going to start talking for like a few minutes to a lot more people, or maybe have some more first phone calls if it even gets to that, because if you have chemistry with somebody and if there's somebody who clicks with you when you're talking to them or when you are even chatting with them. And if you went on a lot of first dates, who cares? Meet somebody for coffee. Like meet two people for coffee every afternoon if you want. Any experience, as I said before, can really enrich your life. The more people you meet up with, the better. And this can help you. It can help your self-esteem. It can help you see that there's lots of nice people out there. And if there are people that aren't so nice, then you see that there are always more people that are out there in the world. It isn't so restricted as when you think that you can only date exactly this person that is specifically this way and makes this much money and is this tall and blah, blah, blah. Now, some guys say to me that they are really picky and that they only date like the hottest women because that's all that they're attracted to. Okay, I call bullshit, right? So I say, okay, yeah, really? So you like, of course, anybody would like to be seen with a 10. Who would you sleep with, though? What's a woman that if she was cute and fun and loving, where is the number, if that's how we're doing it, and women do rating too, but in different ways. But what is the level that you would be sexually attracted to? And then it's always like, 5, 6, 7, whatever. It's certainly not a 10. There's like no man in the universe who's like solely attracted to women who are supermodels. And if they exist, I don't get them into counseling because they're such huge narcissists that they don't even ever think they need counseling. So the point here is go for the person that you are genuinely attracted to, not the one that you want to be seen with. If you yourself are attracted to a woman on her picture or in person, you never know how pictures are, like in person she could be a lot hotter, but your friends wouldn't necessarily think that she's the world's hottest person. Big shit. They don't have to sleep with her. You do. So if you are especially somebody who is very driven by anxiety about what others think, this can be really productively explored in counseling because there's that meme about not caring about the opinions of other people don't pay my bills. Well, the opinions of other people also don't make you have a good sex life or a good marriage. So if you think deeply about the opinions of others and you really let these push you into certain directions in dating, you need to work on that immediately. And because the only person who has to be happy with your partner is you. And if your friends don't think that your soon-to-be next husband is that, impressive or hot or whatever, who gives a shit? They don't have to sleep with him. They don't have to marry him. They don't have to do anything with him. All they have to do is be polite to him. And also, by the way, this is a spin-off point, but if you frequently have a lot of friends, by the way, that are very also kind of anxious and negative, and you're trying to stop being so anxious and negative, you may need to stop telling them so much about your dating life because they'll be, as usual, anxious and negative. So if you are a divorced woman and your best friend is still a married woman and she's super anxious, then when you say, I'm going to go on a date with this guy, she's going to be like, did you do a background check? Did you do 3 background checks? Let me see his picture. Oh, I don't know. He doesn't look that great to me. Where does he work again? I don't know if that's a good job. I don't know. 2 kids? That's one too many. Don't talk to somebody who's going to be consistently negative and anxious because this is only going to bring out these qualities in you, and it's not going to let you learn to be your best non-anxious, open-minded self. So when you're looking for other friends, as you go through your life as a single person, try to gravitate toward those who are positive and open-minded as a rule. And this will leave you in a lot better stead when you need somebody to bounce something off of. Because if your friend group is extremely anxious and judgmental, and it may well be, because especially if you yourself are instinctively that way and trying to change, then you would have been drawn to similar friends. This is not going to be good for you. This is going to amplify your most negative, rigid qualities in a negative, rigid echo chamber. So make sure to kind of not take these people's opinions to heart. If you're going to show somebody a picture of the new person that you're dating, don't make it your most negative, critical friend. She's never going to think this guy's cute, right? Or nice, or fun, or educated, or whatever the decisive variable is. All right, so hopefully this episode gave you some food for thought. I need another synonym for that, but that's really what it is. That's what I'm hoping to do, is to cultivate kind of a more of an open-minded multi-varied perspective on any of these issues that I'm discussing, and really something that makes you think about an issue in a new way and reframe it, like a tiny little bit of CBT for you, and really can give you a different and more open, flexible way to view a lot of issues that is really grounded in realism and self-compassion. All right, well, I hope that everybody enjoyed this and have a great day.